This is Moonlit Shores by Randall Hartsell. Let's begin with the demonstration. It is so beautiful. Just a peaceful piece. I think I could do a little bit of a play on words. So Moonlit Shores has a lot to offer us as pianists. Not only is it pleasing to listen to share with our audiences, but it also gives us some really great opportunities to showcase our growing skill at the piano. So one of the first things that I encourage students to do is take a look at the left hand. There's a pattern here. It's really easy to pick up on, and we want to make sure that you grab onto it right away. So if I take you to the keys here, left hand in measure 1, we see this interval C to G. I'm just going to play it together here as a blocked interval. Okay, so that's 5 notes away from each other, C to G. Measure 2, it moves up. The thumb goes C to A 6th. And, yep, you got it. Measure 3, there's a 7th, C to B. And then measure 4, it walks down. So quickly, 5th, 6th, 7th, back down to your 6th there, C to A. Okay, so that's a 4-measure pattern that's going to come back, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Right hand, let's look at you in measure 1. Your ears are probably already picking up some of the patterns when you heard the demonstration. So here on measure 1, you notice that I'm really outlining this C major chord. There's one note that doesn't fit the chord, the note D. It's just a passing tone. Okay, now I'm going to take that pattern, 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1, those finger numbers. Move 1 key to the right. Yeah. And we're going to play it again. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1. Again. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1. Measure 3. Can you guess? Yep. Move it up. One more. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1. Measure 4. Back down to D. 1, 2, 3, 5. A little bit of a shorter version on measure 4, abbreviated. Yeah, so it is 1 finger pattern. You're staying within the 5-finger range, and you just take it up 1 white key per measure there. So that pattern is something you want to really get under your fingers right off the bat, and just working hands separately, even as I've shown you, is a great way to explore the geography and really get that nailed down so you feel confident. When we go on then to measure 5, you're going to notice it starts again, that same pattern. So here we go at measure 5. Okay, so 5 through 7, exact repeat of measures 1 through 3. So measure 8 is where it gets a little bit different. Left hand, you're still going to play that interval of a 6 that we did like measure 4, but right hand, instead of going down to the D minor position as measure 4 did, you're going to go up from measure 7. Here's measure 7, E position, and then walk up one more time. 1, 2, 3, 5. Same finger numbers as 4, but we just moved up instead of going down. So that's the way he creates this musical sentence, if you will. Measures 1 through 4 is the first part, measures 5 through 8, and then measures 4 and measure 8 are a tiny bit different so that they sound like 2 different punctuation marks. Okay, so those are areas that you can practice. Once you get each hand separately, the next step would be on this first 8 measures is to play the left hand, then the right hand. So I'm just outlining the positions, the lowest and highest note, these chord positions. C5, a C chord, C up a 6th, D minor, C up the 7th, E minor, go back to your 6th measure 4, D minor. So that would be a great way to work through, again, just kind of landing where are all of my chord placements and making sure that's really confident. All right, we're gonna move on now to a new section. So at measure 9, we go on to a different idea. And really, it's not so far away as you might think. It sounds different, but there's some friends, shall we say, that are gonna return. So I'll start again with the left hand measure 9. You have an F5. So now the left hand is on the F below middle C, and we're playing the middle C above that, 5 notes. Okay, and then F up to D, 6 notes, measure 10. Measure 11, F up to E, there's your 7th, and back down, F to D. So quickly, 5, 6, 7, back to 6. Okay, so that's one place to practice the left hand alone. Right hand, we're going to do a very similar idea that we did at measure 1, but this time instead of going up the chord, we're going to go down the chord. So if I were to play it in the original position, it would be like that instead of. So in this case, the hand is moved up. So at measure 9, we're actually above middle C. We're on the A minor chord position. So we're going to play E, D, C, B, A, just like you're walking down a scale there, 5-finger scale, E, D, C, B, A, and he tags on the 3rd above that right at the end. E, D, C, B, A, C. Or if you want the finger numbers, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. Yeah. Okay, so measure 10, we're going to do the abbreviated version. 5, 4, 3, 1, moving to G position, down 1 key to the left, and outlining this G major chord. 5, 4, 3, 1. Measure 11, the whole thing, now moving to the F position. You can follow me here on the overhead camera. C, B, A, G, F, A. There's your 3rd above. C, B, A, G, F, A. And then we're going to stay right there in that position for measure 12. B, A, G, F. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that gives you the outline of what both hands are doing. I'm kind of trying to draw a mental picture in your mind so you can follow each of these chord positions. Well, again, when you put it hands together, initially you might just try the block form at measure 9. You can play all the 4 notes there. So just outlining that chord pattern in the right hand and playing the 2 eighth notes in the left hand, just play it together. So that would help you find your placements very good. If you have trouble visually finding your spot, that would really be the tool that you should use in your practicing, at least initially. All right, so that gets us now through almost all of the first page. Measure 13, we have a repeat of measure 1, but measure 14, whoa, we're going to explore a little bit differently here. So on measure 13, we feel comfortable. Measure 14, move everything down a whole step. So C going down to B flat. If you can find your B flat chord, there it is. Okay, so left hand you're playing B flat F, and then 1, 2, 3, 5 in the right hand. And I guess I should pause here. I know the class that I'm teaching right now and where they're at, but if you're just joining me on my channel, I want to point out that you really have to be very aware of all of these chords and at least know the 5-finger notes around each chord. If that is something not comfortable to you, then you might want to wait a little bit before you begin Moonlit Shores, or just talk to your teacher and get some additional help so that you're really confident, because this piece is built all over these chord positions, these 5-finger chord positions. So once you know them, you really have the key to unlocking this great piece. All right, so back to where we are at measure 14. Okay, then 15. Okay, whoop, that's right back. Same thing again. 16. Okay, top of page 2. We're we're jumping to the E flat major chord. Okay, so we're still using the same method over and over again. If you haven't noticed, it's the same method, but we're just changing what chord we're basing off of. So that goes then from 13 to 16, and then 16 all the way to 18. We've only gone C, then C position, then B flat, back to C, measure 15, over to E flat, measure 16. Measure 17, C chord, measure 18, B flat chord. Okay, so if that is kind of your limit, you might want to pause here, just practice where those chord placements are. We're always in root position. The name of the chord is the lowest note played in each hand. So that would give you a chance to work that out. If you're ready to move forward, measure 19, we're going to jump down. We're at measure 18, the B flat position. Measure 19, we're going to go farther afield, A flat, what? And walk it all the way down to G. So he does what we call a classic walk down, B flat, A flat major, and then G major. And that leads us back to the return at measure 21, because G major is the dominant, the 5 chord in the key of C, which is our home key. Okay, so now I'm going to go through all of that section, measure 13 through measure 20, through measure 20, and play through it as written. So if you've practiced all the chord positions and you feel like you're ready to put it together, then you can come along with me. All right, here we go. C position, measure 13, really nice and slow. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Look for that B flat, move. 2. Look for your C. Go, go, go. Yep. Okay, here comes the E flat. Look forward. There you go. Look for your C. Go back home. There you go. Look for B flat. Go to the left. That's it. A flat, 1 black key down. And look for the G natural right below it. There you go. Yeah, so it's easy for me to sit here and play this on the camera like, oh yeah, you got it. But if you're having struggles with that, that's okay. Don't feel like you are the odd person out. It's very, very common that students have to practice that section very hard. You can even do little drills. So you could do C, B flat, C, B flat, and just pound that until you can find it easily. And then the next one, C, E flat, and just practice finding both hands. That takes time. It might start off like this for you, but eventually you'll get it to where you can play it a little faster. So those are ideas where you can just kind of really focus in. Maybe you're great from C to B flat, but getting that B flat chord to A flat chord on measure 18 and 19, maybe that's just the really hard spot for you. So use those moments of practice time, not to just play over and over again repeating stumbles, but really focus on where you can make those stumble spots become your strong suit. All right, now after we get to measure 20, we go back, as I said, returning back to that beginning material. So that's a little bit of a comfort. Oh yes, this is all recycled. I love it. Okay, so there you go with 4 measures. 25, you're gonna have to jump down. So we're in C position, and left hand is in C position, right hand, you're up there on that D minor. Okay, both hands are gonna move down to the left, and we're gonna go to the C octave. Right hand, you're below middle C, 1 octave. Left hand, 2 octaves below middle C. All right, so both hands are placed here. We're gonna do the same pattern that we've been doing for measure 1. We're just doing it really low. So C, G, C, D, E, G, E, C. Yep, that's it. There's your 5th. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1. There's that D minor position. Okay, so that's 25 and 26. And then at 27, we're going to play that same exact pattern, but now moving it up an octave to the right. Here it goes. Measure 29, can you guess? I think you can. Left hand and right hand up another octave. So all of that, 25 to 30, is really just the first two measures of this piece, but the real question is, what octave are we playing in? So once you find that the initial low octave, then you just move up each set of two measures. So if you're one that's feeling like, oh, that music is really hard, it looks really complicated on the page, be encouraged. You can do this. You've already played these notes. We're just changing the octave. All right, and that takes us to the very last two measures. So I'm going to back up to, let's say 30. That's the position we're in here. Left hand in middle C range, right hand an octave above that in the D minor position. You're going to scoot up one more time. So the thumb in the right hand goes to E and C. This is 3 C's above the middle of the piano if you're trying to find where I am. Left hand, you're going to go way down to the bottom. We want an octave below the middle G. So if you're looking at G below middle C, go down another octave. Put your thumb there, and then your pinky should be able to reach the C below that. Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, rest, 1, 2, both, release. The right hand, you're just going to stay holding for those 6 beats, but the left hand, that was your rhythm I called out loud. Okay, so that's all the placements. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? You have an answer for all of those questions now. I'm so happy to be there to encourage you along this journey. So other ideas that we want to talk about is the pedal. The pedal is important, of course, in this piece. It's what brings this sense of peacefulness, of the moon sitting over the water. I kind of just have that view in my mind. Of course, the title helps us with that. So you're going to pedal basically once every measure. So as you're coming along at measure 1, remember the play pedal we've talked about in previous pieces like Dream Echoes. If you have studied that piece, that's a very, very close neighbor of the Moonlit Shores. Moonlit Shores is a little more advanced, but they both share the same pedaling technique. Okay, so we'll do a play, then the foot pedals here. So play, pedal. Going really slowly. Play, pedal. Play, pedal, play, pedal. So you want to be cautious as you're playing this that you get a good clearing of the pedal so that your right foot on that far right damper pedal, that you have a clean clear. If you don't clear the pedal, sometimes you'll get a little bit of what we call mud. Listen. I hear a little more mud perhaps than I should. So I also jumped the left hand a little bit for some reason. But the point is, you want that pedal right after you play the downbeat, that first note in the left hand of every measure, play that note and then clear the pedal. So you push the toes, release, and right back down. So you want to feel that clean and hear that clean pedal change. Okay, lastly, the other part that makes this piece so incredibly lovely is the dynamics. Wanting to hear that legato, absolutely, but you also want to hear these crescendos and decrescendos. It should kind of feel like the waves surging forward and then receding back into the ocean. I think that's a great visual image, a mental image of what you can hear. Music is so expressive. Sound expressing what we can see. That's a really cool artistry idea. So in measures 1 through 3, we see this really long crescendo. So you must start softly. And then the next one, a little more pushing into the keys, a little more pressure, and then relax that tension. There you go. That's it. Measure 5. Starting softly. Give me a little more pressure, building, and one more build up. Da da dum bum. There you go. At measure 9, I want to pause here. Sometimes when students see forte, we go, oh, we should be as loud as possible, scream and yell with our fingers, give it all you got. And this particular piece, it's not the right idea. You don't want a screaming, yelling, go team sort of forte. It doesn't quite bring us that peaceful feeling that we're looking for. So forte here means full, rich, a wonderful sound like an orchestra filling up the recital hall, but not fans cheering at a baseball game. So let's see what that sounds like. I'm going to start at 7 and go right into 9 so you can hear that. Oh, yeah. And in, a little less, and so forth. So you hear when you get to that forte there at measure 9, that's kind of that climax. It's just very warm and inviting. And so you don't want to be very aggressive, but you want to just push into the keys gently and almost with a brush stroke here. And you notice I'm using my arms to use that continuation of sound instead of, see, it's a very downward motion what I just did, instead of rotating my elbows and wrists so I get that continuity like that. Okay, and then from 9 forward, we're going to do each measure a little bit softer to get that decrescendo there. At 9, start relaxing the volume, not the tempo. Less, step down, and less. Let it peter out there. Take a breath and start again. Warm it up there. So at 13, we're going to start soft and surge forward. So the amount of time that you have to grow louder is shortened. We only have one measure. We don't have 3 or 4 measures. So we've got to keep that in mind. It changes significantly there. So measure 13, softly surge. And forte, then back off. Yeah, start softly. Surge, back off. Breathe and start again. Surge, back off. Breathe. Getting softer each time here and slow down. Little ritardando. Take a breath. You notice I'm saying things like breathe or restart. So you see those are the ends of the phrasing. So it also helps you. It's a little secret. It also helps you with the dynamics. If you kind of take a little bit of a musical breath there. I'm sometimes I'm audibly breathing out on the microphone so you can hear me. But you know, that's what I'm really saying is like mentally you kind of hear that in your head. And sometimes physically people will take that breath if that helps them to practice, but that will help you getting the transition between louder dynamics and then backing off to softer, louder, softer. If you're into the keys fully, it's very hard to pull out from a loud dynamic to a soft and vice versa. So, and it also gives us that artistry moment at 20, measure 20, where you have the little ritardando, poco ritardando, and then back to a tempo. So that's just a way to get the musicality across. It's not completely metronomic there. You have a little bit of a stretch in the tempo, and then it goes right back to being right on the beat. Okay, I won't continue talking about measure 21 through 24 because it's very much the same, similar idea as what we did at the very beginning of the piece. You'll see there at 25 to the end, we have again those shortened dynamics like we had at 13. So I'll walk you through that. So here at the lower octaves of the piano, mezzo piano, crescendo, mezzo forte, and back off. Lift and start softly, but don't get too loud, just mezzo piano. We could probably try that even a little softer. Don't give too much of a peak there. And then piano. It says più there, more. So you can be a little bit more of a surge if you feel that expression. But then bring it down and slow down with the poco ritardando. I take my time reaching those upper notes in the right hand. You want it to feel like a point of arrival, that it's just, I've arrived home. And so when you get to that top note and you're doing the right hand, I like to take a little bit of time placing that. And you'll change the pedal there also. Left hand as softly as you can. And I like to make sure that my elbow is away from my body. Sometimes students say they don't get that low C to sound. Sometimes they're even pushing it. The key is depressed, but there's nothing coming out. If that's the case, you may have a collapsed wrist and you have perhaps no support on that fifth finger. So make sure that you bring the elbow out a little bit and supporting that so you can play. And you notice I kind of lean my upper body into that low note there just to be sure I get purchase, I get a sound there. It has to be carefully regulated. You can't get a boom. We don't want a thunderclap right there on that last low C, but voicing that so that it comes out with a soft sound but still very present. Oh, that can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. It's totally worth all the work though to get this Moonlit Shores up to performance ready. I think that's just something that we all want to go for when we hear this wonderful piece. So keep going on the journey, keep practicing. Feel free to leave me some comments or reach out to me, and I'll be happy to respond. If you have any other questions or things we didn't talk about on this video, feel free to give it a like and share it with your friends, and I will see you at the next piece.